In ancient Rome, when generals would arrive back after a victorious campaign, there would be celebrations in the streets. There would be crowds of people amassed together, all there to celebrate the victory of their general, who is fighting on behalf of Rome. Now, at the time, Rome was the biggest empire in the world, and so they prided themselves heavily on their military capacity. And when a general would return home from a victorious and successful campaign militarily, then the people would worship that general as if they were almost God incarnate. This got to a lot of generals' heads and made them more corrupt, it made them more arrogant, it made them believe that they were divine or they were God. And what Marcus Aurelius and other good generals did to counterbalance this tendency that power has to corrupt absolutely was they hired a servant to walk next to them as they would experience this celebration in the streets of Rome. Now, this servant's purpose was one thing and one thing only: to continually whisper in the emperor's ear, or the general's ear, or whoever needs to hear it, that you are only a man and you will too die. What was the purpose of this reminder, and why did Marcus Aurelius use it? I think it is to ensure that he does not become arrogant by his power. Now, power is a fundamental temptation that we all have. We all have Nietzsche would call it a will to power, a will to expand ourselves, gain more power over the world. It's a drive that pushes creatures from all different walks of life to evolve, to become better, adapted to their environment so that they can better master their environment. And with that comes an increase in power. But it's important to remember, and Marcus Aurelius would say this, what got you to the dance. You have to remember what got you to this position. Marcus was vetted for his impending emperorship by Antoninus Pius. So Hadrian was a Roman emperor, and he met Marcus Aurelius when Marcus was a young boy. He saw potential in Marcus, potential that Marcus didn't even know existed. He made Marcus believe in himself. And he spoke to Marcus about one day becoming emperor, and Marcus was very hesitant because of the responsibilities, the obligations, and the demands that a role like that would have upon him. He wasn't sure whether he was up to the task, and he struggled with a lot of imposter syndrome while kind of being vetted for the role of emperor. But because Marcus was too young during the time that Hadrian was about to leave his position as emperor, then there needed to be somebody else who would step in until Marcus was of a suitable age to take the throne, and that was Antoninus Pius. What Hadrian did was he made Antoninus Pius adopt Marcus as his adoptive stepson. So that means that once Antoninus Pius passes, then the power will go to Marcus. And Antoninus Pius was a great mentor and a great inspiration and a great teacher to Marcus. But I think what differentiates Marcus from most other emperors is that he took seriously the responsibility of emperor, and that's because he had so much time to think about it. He had so much time to prepare for what he knew he was going to be thrust into, the role of being an emperor. And he always stressed the importance of remaining humble in your position and remaining connected to the people around you. And I think by constantly hearing, as he's traversing these victory parades and these celebrations, constantly being reminded that he is a mortal and that he is only a man, keeps him grounded, it keeps him humble, and it keeps him not overwhelmed, not enticed, not arrogant by power. And so I think any of us in our lives today could benefit from the knowledge and the reminding of our own mortality, of the urgency we need to live our lives, because we don't know when death is going to come. And the truth is, if this was your last day on earth, I don't know if you'd still be doing the things that you're doing now. How would you live it? Would you live it any differently to the way you live today if it was your last day and you had that knowledge? Who knows? But it's good to ask yourself that question, because it pertains to the answer as to why you don't live with enough urgency, and how you would live if death was an absolute certainty that was coming for you in the near future. And the truth is, that could be the case. For all we know, we don't know. And so we need to be humble in our own ignorance. As Socrates says, I am wise because I know nothing. And so if we treat death with its appropriate respect, then we understand that it's just a function of nature, and although it is the end of this life, it could be the start of something completely different, of a brand new life. And we don't know what happens after death. We need to be okay with that. Some things we just can't know. But that shouldn't stop you from appreciating the life you have, and that shouldn't hold you back from taking risks in life. And also, it shouldn't make you live your life with fear that death is going to encroach upon you, because death encroaches upon us all at different times, and we will all be swallowed up by death in the end. It's inevitable. And so why run from that? Why run from the knowledge that one day you will die? A lot of people like to ignore that, especially young people like myself. We like to think and take for granted the idea that we have decades left to live. Nobody promised you that. Nobody told you that. So you're acting upon a false assumption. But when you act on a false assumption, on the other hand, as if your death is coming imminently and is coming for you quickly and is almost hunting you down, then it's easier to act with urgency and to act with purpose and to act with clarity in your life. Because what usually happens is, and I actually read this in Stephen Pressfield's book, The War of Art, is when people are given a terminal diagnosis, they usually switch their perspective from the ego to the self. And this is because they stop caring about the things that truly don't matter. They stop giving a fuck where it's not warranted. And then what happens is they start caring about different things. You know, they might quit their job, or they might go and pursue a hobby that they've loved their entire life but have never been able to make time for prior to their diagnosis. And it's just a reaffirmation for me and a confirmation that the knowledge of our impending death, whether that be real or false, just the expectation and the preparation for it in our minds makes us live with more clarity and more urgency. It makes us do what we truly feel called to do. It makes us not put things off any longer. And so I want you today, after this video, to remind yourself that you don't know truly how long you have left on this planet. And that's okay. And however long you do have on this planet, it is a journey to explore. You know, it could be 10 years, it could be 20 years, it could be 30 years. But I think it's best to act as if death is coming quickly. It's best to act as if death is on the horizon. Because the truth is, it always could be. And we never know when it is. And the Stoics also said, expect the worst. And so expect it to come. Expect it to come fighting for you now. And so you can actually implement the clarity, the focus, the changed perspective that you have gained from the knowledge of your death into your life now, before death has even come. And then I think you're going to be living each day as if it was your last. And then probably you will have far less regrets. You'll probably make far less mistakes. You'll probably care far less about things that truly don't matter. You'll probably have far less worries and anxieties that are truly pointless. You'll probably have far less negative emotion and inhibitions and negative judgments about yourself. Your insecurities will likely fade away. Your doubts, your fears, they will likely be pushed to the wayside to make room for action. Because the truth is, action is the only thing we can do right now. And right now is the only moment we are ever promised. And so live right now as if it was your last moment, because who knows? It really could be. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.